ANC Ekurhuleni Elective Conference was set to get underway today. The meeting has been delayed several times. The latest was due to the allegations of branch exclusions. Current Chairperson Mzwandile Masina is seeking re-election. He will face off against Regional Treasurer Dr. Xhakaza. For more on this, we are joined by eNCA senior reporter Siphamandla Goge. Thank you so much for your time, Sipa. Perhaps just tell us whether or not this regional conference has managed to kick off, or are there still delays?
The Ekurhuleni Regional Conference of the African National Congress has not started as we speak. There are delays. It was meant to get underway yesterday. It did not get underway. There was a chaotic registration process. Tensions ensued. That registration process was put on hold with the hope of resuming this morning at 8 o'clock. The registration process did resume, but things are moving very slowly. Lindokuhle, who is my colleague who is covering outside the conference venue, will tell you what is happening there, as there are some members and delegates of the ANC who are still outside the conference venue gates. Inside the conference venue gates, I can tell you right now that you will see Jokomane will show you the activity of some of ANC members and delegates who are really waiting for this conference to get underway. The latest update I can give you and our viewers is that there is an urgent steering committee meeting which is underway. It involves the senior NEC members of the governing African National Congress. They include the likes of Dakota Lehuete. They also include the likes of Ndumanana. I've spotted provincial executive committee members of the ANC who are attending that conference, and Kusela Digo is also part of that meeting rather, and Mzwandile Masina, TK Ngiza are some of the people who are attending that conference. I think this convoy is coming to drop off one of ANC leaders here in Ekurhuleni. I'm not sure whether my colleague outside Lindokuhle is still with Dr. Xhakaza. If that is not the case, perhaps it's Dr. Xhakaza who's making his way inside here to attend the very same steering committee meeting of the ANC that is underway. They are trying to get a solution to this impasse that is happening, because there is a stalemate as we speak, and that stalemate is simply due to the fact that some delegates are alleging and claiming that there has been a manipulation of processes. They have been unable to get registered and to deal with issues of the conference properly. So they say branch general meetings and disputes have been lodged regarding this regional conference of the ANC in Ekurhuleni. So as we speak right now, the conference is not underway amid tight security inside and outside the conference venue. Private security personnel carrying high caliber rifles, members of the South African Police Service are deployed in their numbers, and it's a real concern about the security situation when it comes to ANC conferences. We have seen it over the years how these conferences are always displaying tight security, and yesterday activities and scenes that played out in Bosbeck during that chaotic registration process will tell you that security has been heightened here. But as we speak, the conference is not underway. David Makura, ANC Gauteng Provincial Chairperson, was meant to open the conference yesterday. That has not happened, and already we are approaching the afternoon now. It tells you that this conference is delayed and they are not going to wrap it up tomorrow as they anticipated. Even if they do wrap it up, it means in terms of the agenda items, they will have to skip some of those agenda items. Remember, they will still fight for hours over what is known as credentials. They are still going to debate those. If they are not done with the registration process now, that tells you that there will be that thorny issue and a long discussion about the credentials, because for you to have properly coordinated credentials, you need to have been done with your registration process. The credentials will be presented, debated, and eventually adopted. So we are far away from getting this conference started. However, ANC Regional Task Team in Ekurhuleni is hopeful that they will start shortly.
Spide also speaks about this whole unity that the ANC is trying to forge forward with, yet almost every single conference of theirs seems to have some kind of delay and some kind of volatility. But let's bring in our reporter Lindokuhle, who we do understand is on the other side at the regional conference. Lindo, what is happening where you are?
Well, Heidi, we are outside the Indaba Hotel where the conference is supposed to be taking place. Siphamandla Goge is speaking from inside, but I can tell you that outside here, security remains tight in terms of, making sure that those that are supposed to go inside are inside, and those that are supposed to stand outside or stay outside remain outside. But there is that dispute of some branches, about 8 of them, that are saying that they deserve to be part of this conference. They are saying that they've used the guidelines of the ANC in terms of conducting those BGMs, branch meetings that were supposed to then take them to this particular conference. We spoke to the chairperson or the deputy chairperson of the region in Ekurhuleni yesterday, and what he told us was that those branches that were in fact disqualified were disqualified by the system of the ANC, that in fact makes sure that every branch is acting in the guidelines of the ANC. But right now there is song and dance outside here. My colleague Xulu will just show you some of the members of some of those branches that were disqualified singing outside here. They are still waiting for a way forward in terms of what will exactly happen. We've been sent a program that was supposed to start at around 12, but earlier on we did also catch up with one of the candidates for, in fact, being the chairperson of this region, Dr. Xhakaza, who essentially told us that they are going into a meeting now, a committee that is going to bring about resolutions in terms of how to move forward when it comes to this particular conference. But some of these members that are outside here keep on saying that they were disqualified unfairly, and that the reason they were disqualified is because of some of those that are incumbent to the office, mentioning the likes of TK Xhakaza, who is in fact the secretary, mentioning as well the likes of Mzwandile Masina, to say that these particular branches that were disqualified have been disqualified because they are not branches that are supporting the current leadership. They want change, and that is why they were disqualified. So that is the information we are getting outside here. We also saw earlier on some of our security members, security personnel being bussed in here. We saw them carrying rifles, so it does seem that they are on edge in terms of the security. But I can tell you that it remains tight, as those that are supposed to go inside, they are being checked, they are being processed, and thereafter they are able to go inside. But those that are still remaining outside are some of those branches that have been disqualified but are looking for a way forward, and they are hoping that there'll be a positive response from that committee that is meeting to get a sense really of how they can participate in this regional conference of Ekurhuleni.
Siphamandla, maybe we can just bring you back in here to speak about the implications should this regional conference not take place. We have seen delay after delay, and eventually perhaps some consensus might be met. But what kind of implication will we be seeing here should this conference not take place? Also, given the fact that you have National Elective Conference taking place in December.
It's going to be a difficult one for the ANC in Ekurhuleni and in Gauteng in particular. This conference is bigger than being a regional conference. I can tell you that out of 5 regions of the ANC in Gauteng, those being Tshwane, Ekurhuleni, Greater Johannesburg, Sedibeng and the West Rand, this one is the first to convene the regional conference. Our viewers will remember that the Greater Johannesburg region and Tshwane had to postpone their regional conferences because of this very same issue about the disputes that are ongoing. So of late, ANC conferences have been plagued by these allegations of disputes and gatekeeping, manipulation of processes leading up to the regional conferences, provincial conferences. So if this conference ends up collapsing, of which those who are part of the regional task team of the ANC in Ekurhuleni say it will not collapse, it will be resuscitated at all costs, it will be saved at all costs. They are hoping that this conference will proceed, but if it does not proceed, the implications are those branch delegates would have not had an opportunity to discuss policy issues. Remember that Ekurhuleni, the ANC, they lost power in that metro to the Democratic Alliance. They were governing that metro for years. It was a stable metro under the ANC. They have registered an electoral decline, which led to them being booted out. Now, this conference is important because they need to discuss what led to that electoral decline. How are they going to arrest those socio-economic challenges that are facing the people of Ekurhuleni? But most importantly, what are they going to do to ensure that they contribute towards saving the ANC in 2024 from losing power in Gauteng? So if this conference does not sit, they will not have an opportunity to discuss that, because of late, ANC conferences are always seized, by this matter of just electing leadership without discussing socio-economic challenges that are facing the people of Ekurhuleni and Gauteng in general. So this conference will not have enough time to discuss policy issues on how to turn around the economy, on how to deal with issues of youth unemployment, on how to deal with issues of crime, immigration, and all other important policy agenda items that they need to discuss. If this conference does not sit, these branch delegates will go to the National Policy Conference of the ANC somewhere in June or July without having met and discussed these policy positions and discussions. So it's got huge implications, not only for the ANC in Ekurhuleni, but for the people of Ekurhuleni, whom the ANC has been governing but has since lost power.
And Lindo, let's maybe just bring you in with regards to what you experienced yesterday. We were speaking to you till very late last night, where you had many delegates trying to get in, expressing their frustration. We saw a lot of chairs being thrown around, in fact. Is it very different to what you are seeing compared to yesterday? And what are the delegates telling you there outside? Are they wanting to get in, or are they just waiting for officials to perhaps make way for them to get into this conference?
Well, Heidi, it is at the back of some of those scenes we saw unfold at the Boksburg Civic Center. We do know that many of these branch members who were actually, at that particular center, they were there to say that if they cannot register, then no one can. That disrupted the whole process there. Those scenes unfolding were carried out to this particular area at around 8, 9 yesterday in the evening. We did see them parked all over this place, and that is why I believe we're seeing such a boosted beefed up security when it comes to making sure that something like that does not happen. But the message is from these branches is quite clear. They do not believe that they have broken any laws as far as the guidelines of the ANC in carrying out some of their branch meetings, and that is why they believe they should be eligible to register. But one of the messages and one of the things that we saw earlier on was when there was an arrival of Dr. Xhakaza, these members were outside here, they were singing and they were dancing. But one of the things they were saying is that they are pinning their hopes on that meeting that is currently taking place, that committee that will chart a way forward in terms of this particular regional conference. They are saying that because they are represented there, they'll be awaiting from Dr. Xhakaza to come back outside here and give them a response in terms of what will be happening. So they have pinned their hopes on their leader, whom I believe they are in fact supporting as far as this conference is concerned in terms of his plight to become the regional chairperson of Ekurhuleni. But on the other side, they have told us that they'll continue to demonstrate outside here. They'll continue to be outside here until they get an answer in terms of a way forward. But these branch members are simply saying that they have no problem with the conference sitting. They just want to be part of it. They want the ANC, the NEC office to actually give guidelines and give a way forward in terms of how they should be moving forward. I can also tell you that in our discussion with the leaders yesterday, the deputy chairperson said that they cannot answer about branches that have been disqualified and those that have not been disqualified, simply because the verification system is a national system of the ANC, and therefore the NEC from Lusuli House is the one that will need to explain how they were disqualified. So they do not have the answers but they said that they have something which is the threshold to have 50 plus delegates inside here, 50 plus branches, so that they can continue. And they've told us that 90% of the branches from Ekurhuleni are actually inside. They are ready to proceed, but it's just a matter of having a way forward amidst this chaos that is unfolding outside.
Okay, thank you for that update. That's our reporter Lindokuhle Xulu, as well as our senior reporter Siphamandla Goge at the ANC Ekurhuleni Regional Conference. Of course, not having started, delay after delay.